He always looked at others. Not out of jealousy, not with hatred, but with quiet disappointment in himself. His name was Kunal, and from the outside his life looked ordinary. He wasn't poor, but not rich. He wasn't failing, but never the best. And that was the problem. Everywhere he turned, someone was doing better. His classmate Raj was always first in every subject. His neighbor's son had already launched a business. His cousin had thousands of followers and traveled the world. Kunal scrolled, listened, watched, and compared. "I wish I was like him," became his most repeated thought. Every achievement by someone else felt like proof of his own lack. Even in small things, a friend's new phone, someone's gym transformation, a perfect vacation photo, he felt behind. It wasn't envy. It was shame. He'd sit in silence at night and wonder, what's wrong with me? Why can't I be more like them? And so he tried. He copied their routines. He mimicked their goals. He followed advice that wasn't made for him. But the more he tried to be someone else, the more lost he became. He started things and left them halfway. He wasn't consistent. He wasn't motivated. He was chasing shadows, and they moved faster every time he got close. One afternoon, after failing to stick to yet another goal he'd borrowed from someone else, Kunal sat alone at the back of the school library. He stared at a blank notebook, the first page filled with a list of things he was supposed to do. Gym schedule, business ideas, study plan, none of it felt like his. His teacher, Mr. Dutt, quietly entered the room and noticed him. "You look tired," the teacher said, pulling up a chair. "I am," Kunal replied, "but not from work, from thinking, from trying." Mr. Dutt leaned forward. "Trying to be someone you're not?" Kunal hesitated, then nodded. "It feels like everyone else is winning. I'm just stuck." Mr. Dutt smiled, not in mockery, but like someone who understood. He reached into his bag and pulled out a worn book. "Come with me tomorrow," he said. "I want to show you something." The next day they walked into the nearby forest where the school's old science camp used to be. As they walked along a trail, Mr. Dutt pointed at the trees. "Do you see how different they are? Some tall, some wide, some leafy, some bare. But each is rooted exactly where it needs to be. None of them is trying to be the other." Kunal looked around. The forest wasn't perfect, but it was peaceful. That evening, Kunal didn't open social media. He didn't scroll through achievements or highlight reels. Instead, he opened that same notebook, but this time he didn't write what others were doing. He wrote what he truly wanted, not to impress, not to compete, just to feel aligned. He wrote slowly, "I want to understand my own pace. I want to be useful in my own way. I want to grow, quietly and fully." The next morning he didn't wake up to chase someone else's goal. He simply got up to do something that felt like his. Reading a book he had left unfinished, revisiting a subject he actually enjoyed, jogging at his own rhythm, not to beat a time, but to feel alive. And slowly the noise in his head got quieter. At school, he no longer felt the sting when someone else shared their wins. In fact, he started congratulating them with genuine happiness, because now it wasn't a threat to his worth. He began to notice his own small wins, how he was more patient, how his mind felt calmer, how his thoughts belonged to him, not to a crowd. And just like that, without trying to be noticed, Kunal began to stand out. Weeks passed, and people began to notice something different about Kunal. Not because he spoke louder or showed off, but because he was steady. He wasn't rushing, he wasn't scattered. He had a quiet kind of confidence now. One of his classmates asked him, "Did you start something new? You seem clearer." Kunal smiled. "Not really. I just stopped trying to be someone else." He didn't mean it as a lesson. He was just speaking truth. During a group project, his ideas were sharper. His focus was deeper. He no longer hesitated, comparing his ideas to others before speaking. He shared what made sense to him, and for the first time, people listened. His marks improved, not drastically, but steadily. He started journaling regularly, not to track perfection, but to stay connected with himself. He even helped a junior who was going through the same loop of comparison he had once lived in. One day, as he walked past the same forest trail, he paused. The mango tree and the coconut tree stood there, unchanged, yet more powerful than ever in his eyes. He finally understood. They were not rivals. They were simply different. And both were thriving by just being what they were meant to be. That night, Kunal sat at his desk, the old notebook in front of him. He flipped back through the pages, the lists, the borrowed dreams, the scattered plans. Then he reached the newer pages, the ones filled with his own words, his own rhythm. He had finally found his lane. He didn't become famous overnight. He didn't win trophies, but he was grounded, peaceful. He had stopped running someone else's race and started walking his own, and that changed everything. The comparisons didn't vanish completely. Sometimes they came back, quietly, like shadows. But now he recognized them, and when they appeared, he reminded himself, "You don't need to be taller. You don't need to be louder. You just need to grow where you're planted." Years later, Kunal would go on to build a career he truly loved. He would mentor others, not by telling them what to chase, but by helping them discover their own path. And every time someone said, "I feel behind," he'd smile gently and say, "There's no race, just a journey. Walk it as you." Because the truth is simple. You will never be at peace trying to live someone else's story. But the moment you embrace your own, you become unstoppable. If this story touched you, like it, share it with someone who needs it, drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe for more.